okay, which explain okay, the security return. Okay, the top line here is the expected return. Okay, the second line here, right, is the return of assets. So when we talk about return of assets, okay, this is okay, a variable. Right? It can be a positive number, it can be a negative number. When you average it, then it gives you okay, expected return of I. So this variable here, okay, according to CAPM, right, can be explained by this okay, particular variable here. Right, so what is RI? Okay, it's partly explained by the okay, change in RM. Okay, the reason is RF and R beta here, they are fixed, right? It's a constant. Okay, however, this prediction by CAPM okay, may not be okay, the same as the actual return of RI. Okay, and hence we have to include okay, EI here, which is known as a okay, error. Right, so okay, the CAPM equation basically tells us that okay, RI okay, is dependent on okay, one factor, okay, which is the market portfolio return. So if you perform okay, a regression analysis, right, if you perform regression analysis of RI and RM, okay, this will give you a linear okay, relationship between the two. Okay, and the y-intercept value, okay, I'll call this AI. Okay, for the slope of the regression analysis, okay, is what we want to know. Okay, beta okay, of SFI. So beta is calculated using okay, covariance okay, of RI and RM divided by the variance of RM. Okay, and this is okay, how we estimate through regression analysis in statistics. Okay, so the okay, CAPM equation point out to us that okay, the RI, which is a variable, okay, can be predicted by one factor, okay, which is RM. So the RM go up or down, okay, will help in explaining what is RI value. Okay, but the RI value, as I said, okay, could be higher than the predicted value or lower. Okay, so the error term okay, is the difference between the observed RI okay, and the predicted RI according to the market. Alright, so okay, this equation here can be rewritten as RI equal to AI plus beta I RM plus AEI. If CAPM is a valid model, okay, then you compare this equation to the one on top. Okay, you know that okay, AI will be given by 1 minus okay, beta I multiplied by RM. Right? So if okay, CAPM is valid, okay, then you will realize that AI is the same as okay, what is given by the CAPM equation. Okay, 1 minus beta I multiplied by RM. So this is okay, similar to what we covered last week regarding the first stage test on CAPM. Okay, but for first stage test of CAPM, okay, we intentionally okay, make AI equal to 0. Alright, and how we can do that is by okay, doing the regression based on risk premium rather than return of I. Right? So RI minus RM okay, against okay, the RM minus RM. Right? That's why the y-intercept value becomes 0. But okay, the key aspect about okay, this CAPM equation is it helps us understand what is the value of RI okay, according to RM. Okay, so that is the key aspect. So in okay, capital asset pricing model, we highlight that the market portfolio is not observable. And hence we need to rely on the proxy in testing CAPM. So if CAPM is problematic, such that the market portfolio is unobservable now, we can actually rely on any other systematic risk factor to help understand the asset return. Right? So this APT is a concept, right, whereby we rely on other systematic risk factors in explaining the asset return. So in APT, it actually relies on two notions. One notion is no arbitrage argument. And the other notion is factor model. So factor model is basically regression model. So if you have learned your statistics well, right, then you should have no difficulty with this. Okay? So what is the regression model? Regression model seeks to explain a variable by the explanatory factors. So if you have one factor, then we can have a regression analysis performed based on Ri and the value that measure the factor. Right, so this will give us the y-intercept value alpha I and the slopes beta I. So the objective of regression model is to identify a linear relationship between Ri and F1. Right, so Ri is equal to y-intercept value plus beta I F1. So this will be the predicted Ri. Predicted Ri. Right? For you to find out what is the actual Ri. Very often you find that the Ri observed is different from the prediction. It's not given by the straight line. It could be higher, it could be lower. That's why we will have to include the error term here. Right? So the error term explains the difference between the actual Ri and the predicted Ri. So if you compare this to the CAPM equation, right? Are they not the same? They will be the same if let's say F1 is Rm. Right, if you compare these two equations. So the idea is similar, but we are not confining ourselves to rely on market return as the factor. Understand? So F1 need not be Rm. That is the beauty of APT. We can rely on any explanatory factors to explain the asset return, and this need not be the market portfolio return. So what could be a systematic risk factor? That you have to brainstorm, right, and based on the past experience. For example, some of you may have observed that let's say the weather of the day, right, could have affected the asset return. Then you can perform a regression analysis to measure the weather of the day, right, and put it in the factor value here. But how do you capture the weather of the day? It could be sunny day, rainy day, so how do you represent the value? So some of you may actually prefer to use the temperature of the day, right? So every day you measure the temperature, and then you observe what is the return in the stock market. Then you try to plot them in the regression analysis, and see whether there is a relationship between them. So what will be the key aspect you want to know from this regression analysis? Is it alpha I? No. Actually, alpha I is not important. Alright? You would like to know if there's a relationship between Ri and F1. It will be given by beta I. So if there's no relationship, then beta I will be 0. If there's a relationship, then it will be given by the beta here. Ideally, it should be a positive number, right? But it can also be negative. If it's negative, then the line is down sloping. But there is also a relationship even if it's negative. Understand? So when we talk about the regression analysis, the most important aspect is actually this. We want to know whether there is a sensitivity of your asset return to this systematic risk factor. Okay, as for what could be the systematic risk factor, okay, I told you it could be anything, okay, that you suspect, right, could have explained the asset return. Okay, so anything that you suspect, all right. So for example, okay, you suspect that it could be the month of the year. Okay, then you can use okay, month of the year, okay, as a factor value. But again, okay, month of the year, how do you place a factor value to it? So the statistician, they will use a dummy variable. Okay, so one dummy variable to represent January, one dummy variable to represent February, one dummy variable to represent March. So there will be total 12 dummy variable. And what is the meaning of dummy variable? When the return you're calculating is based on January, then January dummy variable will take a value of 1. If that is not a January, then the dummy variable will take a value of 0 for January dummy variable. So that is how people do the regression analysis to identify whether there is a relationship between Ri and the factor. So remember the key aspect is this, beta I, not alpha I, right? So this means when we look at the CAPM equation again, what is most important is the beta I again, not what is AI, right? AI is the result of how you slice the return. Ri, let's say is 10%. How much is due to AI? How much is due to beta I or RM? How much is due to EI? How you split it? And you can always split it in numerous ways. For example, if I don't choose to perform a regression analysis based on this, I can actually do a regression analysis using this one here. Instead of performing a regression analysis of Ri and Rm, I do a regression analysis of Ri with Rm, how it deviates away from the average value of Rm. Okay? So I'm not using Ri in my computation or the regression analysis. I'm computing Rm, how it deviates away from the average value of Rm. So when we do this regression analysis, even though our variable for x has changed, but I can tell you that the slope will still be the same. It will still be beta I. Alright, it will still be beta I. For those of you who are familiar with covariance calculation, right? Here we are talking about Ri covariation with this, right? So covariation of Ri with Rm minus Erm. Then you divide by the variance of Rm minus Erm. That is how we calculate the slope of this regression analysis. But when you look at the covariation of Ri with Rm minus Erm, Erm is a constant. It's an average value, is a constant. So this is the same as calculating covariance of Ri and Rm. The top is the same as the number based on covariance of Ri and Rm. Alright? Then the bottom is the variance of Rm minus Erm. Against Erm is a constant. So when you do the computation of the variance, it will actually give you the same number as variance of Rm. So isn't this the same calculation as the one on top? And hence when we do the computation of slope here, it's going to give us the same slope, which is the same sensitivity. Alright? But what will be the equation now? The equation in this case, let me give a letter for this. Alright? Let's say this is just a constant. Right, constant. Is the y-intercept value. Plus beta I. Multiplied by Rm minus Erm, right? That is our new x variable. So this is actual Ri, this is the predicted Ri. So the difference between them is the error, Ei. So what happens when you take expectation? when you take expectation, okay, a constant k will still be the same number. Okay, but the number here Rm, okay, if you take expectation, it becomes ERM. Okay, as for ERM here, okay, if you take expectation, it's still ERM, correct? Okay, so this will still be expectation of expectation, okay, this is still the ERM, it's still the ERM. As for the expectation of EI, right, we say this is going to be 0. Okay, the reason is because when we are trying to feed the line through the observed point, okay, we'll make sure that those points above and those points at the bottom, right, the errors will be offsetting to each other. That's why the line is fitting. Okay, hence every time when you take expectation of error, it's always 0. Okay, but what happens when you take expectation of the term in the bracket? ERM minus ERM basically give you 0. Right? So what is the constant? The constant is essentially the expected return of I. So the first model and the first model here, okay, and the second model now, okay, are they the same? You know what I mean? Okay, earlier on we performed the regression analysis, okay, by using Ri and Rm. Okay, but now we are using Ri and the deviation of Rm from its average value. So the two, okay, are different regression equation. Okay, but it will give us the same outcome that we want, which is the relationship between Ri and Rm, okay, using the beta here. Okay, however, because the regression equation is different, so the y-intercept value is not the same. Earlier on, the y-intercept value is ai, but now the y-intercept value is the constant, okay, which is the same as the expected return of I. Why I mention this? Okay, the reason is because in performing a regression analysis, usually the design of the factor value is such that it will average out to 0. Right? So the intention in performing this regression analysis is that the f1 value will typically average to 0. Right? So how can we make the average value of f1 equal to 0? Okay, very easy. Okay, you just need to take the value of f1 and minus away the average value of f1. That way, right, you will have an f1 value that average out to 0. Okay, and what is the beauty of having f1 value average out to 0? Okay, the reason is once f1 is averaged to 0, and you know that average value of the error also average to 0, then the expected return of your asset I will be explained by the y-intercept value, the constant. Right? All this will collapse to the y-intercept value. So it's actually a matter of preference. It's not a must. Right? But a lot of students always ask, how come the factor model is as such, right? Then the CAPM is another way of writing. So they always get confused. You have to know that it is actually your preference of how you want to slice the return. Right? You want to have the return mostly fall under the constant or fall under the explanatory factors. But the key aspect on why we perform the regression analysis is not to focus on alpha I or the y-intercept value. That's not our focus. Our focus is the beta I, right? Which is the sensitivity of the Ri to the factor. Understand now? If you're not convinced, you can go back and try this on your own. Alright? This is the calculation of the beta okay, using Rn, okay, as well as using Rn deviation from ERn. Okay, you realize that the two computation will give you the same beta number, right? The beta so this is the number I'm working on. Okay, but you don't need to rely on this number at all. You can go back and try it using a different set of figure. Understand? So the calculation of covariance has been taught in the class previously. Okay, you can refer to VJ. Alright, you can refer to this question number 6 that we've gone through last week. Yeah, this question here. Okay, and you try to measure the beta, not using Rm here, but using Rm minus the average value of Rm. Right? So you have one more column calculating the F1 value, which is Rm minus the average value of Rm. Okay, and then try to do the calculation of the covariance, divide by the variance of that variable. You see that the beta number is actually the same. So this is just to convince yourself that the beta is not affected by your choice, or whether you're using Rm or using the F1 value, where F1 value is the deviation of the Rm value from ERm. It's going to be the same. So the whole idea behind the factor model, right, is to identify a list of explanatory factors for an asset return. So you should not be confined to just one factor. This is a one factor model, right? And now I've already explained to you what is alpha I. It's basically the y-intercept value. F1, right, is the value of the explanatory factor. Beta I is the sensitivity of your asset return to the factor. And this is your main focus. As for epsilon I, this is the error in explaining the difference between your actual RI and the predicted RI. So if there are more than one systematic risk factor, then the equation will extend to include beta of the second factor multiplied by factor value of second factor, all the way to the k number of factors. So in exams, typically it will not give you more than 2 factors, right? So you may be asked to handle 2-factor model. So if we talk about 2-factor structure, a 2-factor structure means that the asset return can be explained by 2 explanatory factors. So AI, no change, right? This represents the constant term, which is the y-intercept value, right? But most of the time, this is the same as the expected return of Ri. If you design the factor value to give you average of 0, right? So beta I1 is the sensitivity of factor 1, your asset I to factor 1, then you multiply by factor 1 value. So beta I2 is the sensitivity of your asset I to factor 2, multiply by the factor 2 value. So this will give you the predicted Ri, but the comparison to actual Ri may be explained by the error term here, Ei. So this is the 2-factor structure. 3-factor structure, you just include one more term, beta I3 plus M3. Understand now? So if this is the factor structure in explaining the asset return, then all assets return can rely on this, so long as you know what is the beta of the asset. So for example, right, you have a stock A and a stock B. What is the return of stock A? We have identified 2-factor structure in explaining the asset return. So this applies to stock A. So stock A will be given by the expected return A subscript A here, right? And the deviation from expected return can be explained by beta A1 F1 plus okay, beta A2 okay, F2 okay, plus EA. Alright, so we apply the two-factor structure okay, to explain the exact A return. Okay, and BA1, BA2 okay, refers to the sensitivity of RA okay, with respect to the factor 1 and factor 2 okay, accordingly. Right? So we also apply the factor structure to explain exact B return. So RB, okay, the expected return is given by the constant term okay, A subscript B. Okay, but if we deviate away from this because of the explanatory factor. So the explanatory factor okay, is okay, also depending on the sensitivity of okay, B to the factor. So BB1 okay, multiplied by F1 plus B beta B2 okay, F2 okay, plus EB. Okay, so how RB deviate away from the expected value okay, is due to the systematic factor and the idiosyncratic factor. Right? So the idiosyncratic factor will explain the EB, okay, which is the error term. As for the systematic factor, okay, the returns will be explained by okay, the sensitivity of the stocks to the factor multiplied by the factor value. So when I use A here to represent the expected return, okay, you must know that okay, in this case here, my design of okay, F1 okay, and F2 right, is such that okay, it will average out to 0. Okay? Okay, so while this is a common practice, okay, however, it is not always the case. Alright? So okay, if you want to use this A here to represent the expected return Ri, okay, then you better state that okay, the factor value are okay, on expectation equal to 0. Right? And then okay, the expected value of EI is understood to be equal to 0. So the factor structure will explain all except return, including stock A and stock B. So what happens if you have a portfolio? Okay, whereby this portfolio okay, put a certain weightage okay, in A okay, and the remaining weightage okay, in B. Right, so WA in A, WB in B. Okay, in that case, okay, your okay, portfolio return okay, according to okay, Markowitz, right, is the weightage okay, in A multiplied by return of A plus weightage in B multiplied by return of B. Okay, so this is from okay, chapter 2, right, where you learn that the portfolio return is the weighted return of the underlying asset. Okay, but now we apply okay, the factor structure. Instead of writing RA, okay, we write it in terms of okay, the two-factor structure. So the weightage in A, you multiply by the two-factor structure return for A. Okay, so it's A subscript A plus okay, beta A1 F1 plus okay, beta A2 okay, F2 plus EA. So this is applying the factor structure in explaining the return of A okay, into the portfolio return calculation. Okay, then WB is the weightage you place in B. Okay, you multiply by RB, replacing it with the factor structure return. Okay, so this is A subscript B plus beta B1 F1 plus okay, beta B2 F2 plus okay, EB. So what is the outcome of this? Okay, is that now you realize okay, the okay, weightage when you multiply in, right, you have a WA okay, you have WA multiplied by okay, the constant term in A plus WB multiplied by constant term in B. Okay, so this is how you calculate the weighted expected returns of the portfolio. Right, it's a WA and this first term here and WB and this term here. So next, we can also combine okay, the factor 1 terms together. Okay, and we have a WA multiplied by beta A1 plus WB multiplied by beta B1 okay, multiplied by okay, factor 1. Okay, combining all the factor 2 terms together, okay, we have WA beta A2 plus WB beta B2. Okay, then we multiply by F2. Okay, of course the last one is WA EA plus WB EB. Alright, which is the error term. So what is the important finding from here is, if you like to know how sensitive is this particular portfolio to the factor, okay, you can calculate it by using the weighted beta of the two assets in respect to the factor. Right, so this will give you the beta of portfolio with respect to factor 1. Okay? So instead of performing a regression analysis all over again, there's no need to if you know that this is a portfolio comprised of the underlying stock, and you already have the beta of the underlying stock. Right? So the beta of portfolio with respect to the factor is calculated using the weighted beta approach. So same thing for this one here. This is how you calculate the beta of the portfolio with respect to factor 2. Right? So the two calculation here. This is the sensitivity of RP to F1 value. Right, and this number here that you're calculating is the sensitivity of P, RP to F2 value. And sometimes this number that we calculated is known as a factor loading. Right, so if you come across the word factor loading, don't get confused. This is also known as a factor loading of the portfolio. Right, likewise it is factor loading. So if the question asks you to compute factor loading of portfolio, it means the sensitivity of the portfolio to the individual factor. Right? So this is a general formula that we apply to calculate the factor loading or the sensitivity. You know that whether we are talking about this or this, right? The portfolio factor loading with respect to factor I is given by the weightage of your investment in I multiplied by the beta I with respect to or changing this to factor K. This factor K, what is the sensitivity of portfolio to factor K? It's based on the weightage of investment in asset I. It's multiplied by asset I beta to factor K. So this is the general formula. So this is the most important aspect of our regression analysis. Right? It tells us how sensitive is our asset return to the individual factor. And you can see that this is our calculation of the portfolio systematic factors, systematic returns. Right? This is how we calculate the portfolio systematic return. As explained by the systematic factor captured in F1 and F2. So as for this part here, it is a weighted error term of the two assets. This error term in the expression of return is the unsystematic return of portfolio, right? So you can say this is the unsystematic. Or can say unique return of portfolio. So unique return of portfolio is based on the unique risk factor of the two assets in the portfolio. Understand? So you can apply this concept here to calculate what is the sensitivity of your portfolio with respect to the individual factor. This is an example, right, in your subject guide. So there are three stocks, X, Y, and Z. okay, where the stock return okay, are given by the two-factor structure. So from okay, Rx, okay, the expression here, okay, you know that okay, asset X okay, has a sensitivity of 1 to factor 1, then a sensitivity of negative 0.5 to factor 2. Understand the reading? Right? So okay, that is how you can read the two-factor structure. Therefore, asset Y, okay, the return is depending on the factor value as well as the idiosyncratic return. Okay, but the asset Y here has a sensitivity of 0.7 to the first factor, 0.5 okay, to the second factor. So where are these numbers obtained? Okay, it's from regression analysis. Okay. So now if you have a portfolio which plays 1/3 okay, weightage in each of them, okay, then what is the portfolio sensitivity to the first factor? Okay, it will be 0.5. How this 0.5 is calculated? Right, is using this okay, calculation here that we just covered. So 1/3 is the weightage you place in okay, x, right? You multiply by the beta of x, which is okay, 1. Then another weightage of 1/3 in y, you multiply by beta of y with respect to factor 1, that is 0.75. Okay, then 1/3 weightage in z, you multiply by a beta of z to factor 1, okay, which is negative 0.25. So that's how you get the 0.5. Understand now? By the way, if you refer to your subject guide, there's an error. Okay, so the error is the one that's highlighted in red color. The red color one is the corrected number. Okay, so use the one in your slides, alright, not the one in your subject guide. So if you want to know what is the portfolio factor loading to the second factor, that means to F2, okay, you apply the weightage, okay, 1/3, right, and you multiply by okay, the sensitivity of each factor, okay, each assets, right, okay, to factor 2. Okay, so it's this number here. Right, 1/3 times negative 0.5 plus 1/3 times 0.5 plus 1/3 times negative 0.3. So it'll give you negative 0.1. So that's how you calculate the portfolio factor load. Okay, it's supposed to be a measure of how risky is a portfolio with respect to the okay, systematic factor. So by putting all this together, now your portfolio follow a two-factor structure return. It is 0.5 sensitive to factor 1 and negative 0.1 sensitive to factor 2. Okay, and what is the portfolio expected return? The expected return of portfolio is based on 1/3 multiplied by 5% of x, 1/3 multiplied by 3% of y, and 1/3 multiplied by 4% of z. So it gives you the expected return of portfolio, which is 0.04, even by first term. Okay, as for the error term, it's also the weighted average of all this E, X, E, Y, and Z. Okay, but it doesn't make sense to calculate because this is random. Okay, so that's why you just use the expression epsilon P to represent it. Okay, so the idiosyncratic risk of such portfolio come from this. Right, so when there's a fluctuation in the idiosyncratic return of individual stock, which is due to the unique risk of the individual stock, it also explains how the portfolio return change. Right? So if you want to know what is the risk of this portfolio due to idiosyncratic, this is how you can calculate. Okay, so I'm going to put it in a general form. Right, in general, if you want to talk about what is RP, the expected return of RP is given by the constant term. Okay, you can do this. Okay, you take the weightage of each stock, right, multiply by the constant term of each stock in the two-factor structure return. Okay. Then for portfolio with two-factor structure, this is how you calculate the portfolio factor loading to the first factor to multiply by factor 1. Right, then the portfolio factor loading to the second factor based on the weighted factor loading of each asset in the portfolio. Okay, you multiply by factor 2. Okay, and okay, for the last term is the unique returns of the portfolio, right? It's the weighted unique return, okay, of the individual stocks in the portfolio. So what is the variance, okay, of this portfolio return? Okay, the variance of this portfolio return can be decomposed, okay, into systematic and unique risk. You look at the expression here, what could have caused RP to change? Okay, RP could have changed because of F1 and F2, correct? And what is F1, F2? F1, F2 is a factor value of systematic risk factor. Okay, that means it is a common risk factor, right? So the movement of F1, F2 contribute to the movement of P. Okay, that's why the variance of RP, which is the fluctuation, can be explained by the variance of this whole term here. Variance of this expression, right? So in a way, it's like telling us what is the fluctuation in the F1 and F2 value together with the sensitivity of your portfolio to the factor. It will help in explaining what is the fluctuation in your portfolio value due to that systematic risk factor, right? So this is the systematic risk of P. This is a systematic risk of P. Other than F1, F2 could have explained the change in RP, what else could have explained the change in RP? This is the last term, correct? Yeah. So this last term here, EI, refers to the unique assets return, as a result of the unique risk factor. So the fluctuation in RP can also be attributed to this. So this is variance of sum of WI, EI. Right, so this case is what we call the unique risk of portfolio, or unsystematic risk of portfolio. So the slides here is trying to explain to you this part. Right? How can you calculate the unique risk of portfolio? Is to calculate the variance of this sum of WI, EI. Understand? So if you want to do the calculation, this is calculated using sum of WI to the power 2 multiplied by the unique risk of individual asset variance. So that is a calculation. Anyway, for your CF paper, right, this has not appeared as an exam question before, alright? So that's why I don't think this is very crucial. But this is to help you understand, with the factor structure, it helps you to decompose the risk of portfolio into systematic and unsystematic. As for the calculation of unsystematic risk, it's based on this formula. So you just need the weightage in each stocks, you raise it to the power 2, not just the weightage, it's WI to the power 2. Alright? Then you multiply by, what is this? This is the unique risk of the individual stock. So unique risk of individual stock is based on the fluctuation in EI of the individual stock. So that's how you calculate the unique risk of the portfolio. So the main idea is to show you that if you place equal weightage in each stocks, right, and n approach infinity, then what happens is the idiosyncratic risk of the portfolio will be fully diversified and eliminated. Understand? Yeah. So the main objective is to show if n approach infinity, what happened to your portfolio idiosyncratic risk? It approach 0. So this means is fully diversified. And okay, the portfolio risk will comprise of just the systematic risk. Understand? Okay, so do you know how to compute the return representation of this portfolio? Right, where it comprises of negative 25% in X, 0.5 in Y, and 75% in Z. Right, can you compute this quickly? It's not going to take a long time. So I give you 1 minute to do this. Right? Okay. Okay, so you should be using this methodology that we covered just now, right? So to obtain the sensitivity of the portfolio, you should calculate the weighted sensitivity of all assets in the portfolio, using the weightage given. Okay, so the weightage in this case is negative 25% in X, positive 50% in Y, and positive 75% in Z. Okay, so what is the portfolio sensitivity to the first factor? Substitute 0.25 negative for WX here, positive 0.5 for WY, and positive 0.75 for WZ. And that will give you the portfolio factor loading is negative 0.0625. If you do the calculation for portfolio sensitivity to the second factor, substitute the same weightage, multiply by the factor loading of each stock, right, to the factor 2, and will give you 0.15. Okay? So this is to highlight that what is the sensitivity of the portfolio? It's depending on the sensitivity of X, Y, Z with respect to each factor, as well as the weightage you place in the individual stocks. So if you like to manipulate the sensitivity, you can just change the weightage accordingly, all right? And you'll be able to achieve the desired sensitivity that you want. So that is the implication of the above results. What is this? Alright, it's the portfolio sensitivity to the first factor. Calculated using the weightage in each stocks, you multiply by the sensitivity of stock X to factor 1, sensitivity of stock Y to factor 1, and sensitivity of stock Z to factor 1. That gives you the sensitivity of portfolio to factor 1. And for beta P2, right? Beta P2 is given by this next line here. Let me just highlight this. This is beta P2. Alright, and how you calculate beta P2? Is by using the weightage again, and multiply by the sensitivity of X to factor 2, Y to factor 2, and Z to factor 2. So that's how you get the second equation. So this equation is based on X, Y, Z, with the weightage, respectively. So if you like to create a specific sensitivity, you can set this equation here equal to the sensitivity that you want, right? For example, you like the portfolio to have a sensitivity of 0.5 to the first factor. Then you set the portfolio weighted sensitivity here equal to 0.5. If you don't like this figure, you want some other figure, you just change it accordingly. Okay? Then if you like the portfolio to have a sensitivity of 1 to the second factor, then you set this second line here equal to 1. So to find out what should be the weightage in X, Y, Z that create this desired sensitivity, you need to solve the simultaneous equation. To solve the simultaneous equation with 3 unknown, you need at least 3 equations. That's why the last equation is based on sum of W1, sum of Wx, Wy, Wz is equal to 1. Alright, it represents the full amount of the portfolio. So now you have 3 unknown, 3 equation. You can solve the simultaneous equation to find what is Wy, Wx, and Wz. So this is how we can create the particular sensitivity. So we are going to use this idea here to create a factor portfolios later on. Right? So this factor portfolio is going to be very, very useful. And it leads us to the conclusion of arbitrage pricing theory. So we will take a 15-minute break before we continue this part here. This is how we are going to get the APT. APT is a pricing equation, right? So let's take a 15-minute break.